Hey, and welcome to Comicus, the comic book fight between four combatants. It's a knockdown dragout, if there ever was one. Today we're looking at four different books, and we're going to look at those right now. First up, we have Star Wars, number 38. Number 38, written by Kieran Gillen. Not Karen Gillan, the beautiful Scottish redhead. No, this is Kieran Gillen, and this is his first book in the Star Wars, of Star Wars. He also did a Darth Vader series that was really good, he was a writer of. So he just took over the reins of the actual Star Wars book. So there's that right here. Then we have Kid Lobotomy. Wow. This book is wild. Wait till you see this. Wow. Okay. Then we have... This is a bad idea holding them all at the same time. Action Comics number 991. Again, we have that original numbering because it's... wow, they're going to hit 1,000 soon. That's crazy. Action Comics 991 with an awesome lenticular cover. Part of the Oz Effect storyline. And finally, Dark Knight's Batman Lost. Dark Knight's Batman Lost, which is like a one-shot. Okay, first book we're going to be looking at today is Star Wars 38 by Kieran Gillen. Okay, basically we've got Luke and Leia, and they find these like refugees that need to be saved from the Empire, and they step in, they take care of them, the Empire that is, and pick up the refugees. And we find out that they're trying to find kyber crystals. Kyber crystals are the same type of crystal that's used in lightsabers, as well as, more importantly, something like the Death Star. So that's the more important thing, or usage for a kyber crystal. And we also find out that the Empire is working with a mineral expert and some crazed new general type guy who's extremely violent. And it's really cool. It's a neat start to a storyline that's interesting, and I'm not exactly sure where it's headed. And it's wild because Leia's completely in charge here. Luke is almost like, he feels almost like a background character, even though he's on the cover there. That's kind of weird. And I'm hoping that issue 2 and 3 make it not quite as much as Leia completely doing everything. But otherwise, I thought it was good. I thought it's an interesting start to a story arc. And I like Kieran Gillen. He, like I said, he did a Darth Vader comic book. Darth Vader Volume 1 he did, which I thought was really good. I liked it a lot. Charles Soule did Volume 2, and I believe that's up to issue 6 or 7 right now. And it had some really slow issues, but then it had some great payoff issues too. It had like 2 or 3 issues that really had great payoff. But I don't feel, from what I've read of the Soule books, that it was as good as Kieran Gillen's take on... I'm sure I'm mispronouncing his name, and I feel bad. Mispronouncing Kieran Gillen and his take on Darth Vader. Okay, so that's the first book. Second up, we have... The Oz Effect. This is the Oz Effect Part 5. And I believe each one has an awesome lenticular cover like this. Now, it's not terrible. The regular issue is $3. You're only spending 99 cents for this really cool cover. And it's this neat, thin plastic material, too. It's, like, nice and firm. I'm impressed. I haven't seen a lot of books with this, except DC, so I don't know if it's their own thing that they helped create or what it is. This book is awesome. This is the answers you want to the Oz storyline. Okay, so basically in the last issue we found out through Clark Kent's son, John, that basically the world's going to come to an end, and Jor-El right there is the only one that can save John, Lois, and Superman from that fate. But Superman, being who he is like, no, I'll take this on, you know, I'll take this right on myself. But so where it gets interesting. Jor-El's like, no, that's not how it's going to be, and he banishes them to this other place. And in this other place, it's insane the amount of detail that's now going to come together in different Superman storylines. We find out Mr. Mxyzptlk said he was imprisoned by somebody, and Superman didn't know who it was. Well, we find his cell here. And we find out that Jor-El is the one who imprisoned Mr. Mxyzptlk. Even crazier, because Jor-El wants to save his son and keep him safe. As he goes through the cell, he finds another area, Superman does, and in that area is Doomsday. I kid you not, Doomsday. And he's like on life support in this crazy room, and Superman looks at it twice and he's like, this can't be, he's dead. And then Jor-El's like, yes, and you couldn't face him again, you wouldn't survive it. And you're sitting there reading this and you're like, oh my god, what insanity is this? Okay, so it turns out, and I don't ruin the entire book, I try not to, I just reveal certain things that are in it. It's the cane that Jor-El had that was basically keeping him alive. And some other force, some other person or entity has made him do these terrible things to survive. And he wanted to survive not to be selfish, but to save his son Superman, or Clark. So as far as we know, it actually was Jor-El. And there's some really awesome moments in this book. It's really great. It's definitely worth either the $3 or $4 if you get this cover. I liked it a lot. I was very happy with it. I think it's going to tie into Doomsday Clock, though, because it definitely seems like it's Dr. Manhattan that was doing all this. And that's... I look forward to the answers to the reasoning why for that, you know? Because I wouldn't say Manhattan was purely evil at all. I would say maybe detached from humanity in Watchmen. Now, I haven't read a lot of the other Watchmen books that came out like about 3 to 5 years ago, so I don't know if there's some huge drastic shift in him or what. I thought there were prequels, though. Maybe I'm wrong. So, yeah, I don't know exactly what's going on, but I am intrigued, and this was a really good issue. And as I've said before, Superman, the Action Comic series has been really good. There's a new Imperium Lex, I think it's called, series for Superman, like a story arc, which might be cool. I haven't read any of it yet, but I'm going to, just to see how it is. Let's see, we have a question here. I know a bit about Image Comics. What kind of question do you have? We can take a pause before we go to the next book, which I know which it is. New ones, I believe it's called Port of Earth, which came out today. I think that's Image. It might be IDW. I apologize. Hold on here. Star Wars is IDW, right? Star Wars had an IDW book today, so I think it's Image. Another good book I read is Scales and Scoundrels. Issue 3 of that came out today. That I know for sure. I read the first issue and I reviewed it in a previous Comicus. I don't know if that's on YouTube, but it should definitely still be on Twitch. And it would had to have been, if we're in November right now, that would have had to have been August or September? I think September. A Tomahawk. No, that I've not. Indie Development Image? No, that I honestly have not seen that yet. Okay, our next book for tonight is... This one's wild. I've said wild before for books. This might be wilder than even like Number 1 with a Bullet. Kid Lobotomy. This is from Black Crown, which is actually part of IDW. It's a special imprint, I believe, similar to how Vertigo is an imprint for DC. Or at least they were. Actually, I'll be honest, I don't know if Vertigo is still really around. I don't know. I just thought of that right now as I'm looking at this and knowing it's Black Crown. So, let me attempt to explain this and then try to talk about the issue itself. Okay. There's a guy named Big Daddy. Okay? His son is Kid Lobotomy, right there in that photo or painting, okay? And Kid Lobotomy also has a sister, okay? Well, Big Daddy decides to give his, what he calls the suites, which is this, like, apartment complex, or not an apartment, I'm sorry, like a luxury hotel or something like that. He decides to give it to his son, and that very much upsets his sister. And this is where it gets interesting. Either he, Kid Lobotomy, or the hotel itself is created from the demons in Kid Lobotomy's mind. Like things he's experiencing when he was a kid, things he's currently experiencing. I don't know. Like, the book is apeshit crazy. And this young woman right here, it's interesting, she's an artist in residence, hired by the suites. Now, what's weird about that is artist in residence is usually something you use for an art museum or a gallery, an artist that's going to be there for a while and have a number of, like, paintings and art pieces, and they might do a number of, like, talks and things about their work. So, this hotel has an artist in residence to decorate it. But she might be able to decorate using the monstrous, crazy things in Kid Lobotomy's mind. I don't know. I don't know. I read this book. I don't know. I feel that's what's happening here. And there's a character that becomes another character, and Kid Lobotomy actually performs a lobotomy on himself in order to get that person to understand how to shapeshift back into their regular form. Like, this is apeshit crazy. It really is. It is. I like it a lot. I'm definitely looking forward to issue 3. I'm going to try to get issue 1 because I feel I've missed a lot. One of my favorite parts is there's this the Samsa room in the hotel, in the suites. And that's a connection to Franz Kafka's The Metamorphosis. Okay? About this person that becomes a giant bug. Well, the giant bug shows up and is a character. And at one point, for no apparent reason, the giant bug is a tattoo on that woman's face. And Kid Lobotomy at one point is turning into that giant bug. Before he has a conversation with them, and then he starts turning into the bug. It is just insane. It is one of the craziest. There's a thing here from a neurologist. This comic worries me. It's what I've come to expect from Mr. Milligan, unfortunately. Dr. Nick Lossoff, a neurologist. So, I don't know if that's legit or not, but if it is, it's really funny. And, yeah, nuts. Nuts in a good way, though. Okay, so that's Kid Lobotomy. Then finally, we end the evening with Dark Knight's Batman Lost. Not The Lost, just Lost. This is a wild book. Not crazy, just it's neat how it works. Let me explain. So, it starts out with a young granddaughter on an elderly Bruce Wayne's lap asking to hear one of his best stories, knowing that this Bruce is Batman. And she goes over to all these portraits and everything, and Bruce is like, go grab one of those portraits and bring it over, and I'll tell you that story. And she has a very specific story she wants. She wants one of his absolute first encounters back in like the 1938 comics. So we start there, And it's insane how they show Batman how he looked in 1938. But yet, we're still supposed to believe that's like the first year of Batman as Batman, which would put that in context roughly into like the 80s, like the 1980s. So it's really bizarre. Okay? So it keeps going from that, and it keeps going with a noise and glass. Okay? And throughout the book, he comes back to this scene a few times, and things change. One of the craziest parts is that the way the house is built and the way the windows are, birds don't see the windows, so they're slamming into the windows, and there's blood from the birds on the window. Well, that's a bit of a red flag right there, because it's basically the battle of birds and bats, is what Batman the Dark Knight's medal is. And about this villain named Barbatos, and these evil Batmen that he's using, like his army, and these Batmen are from the different multiverses, and for whatever reason or another, they've gone very evil. They don't realize it themselves, but they're just monstrous and doing terrible, terrible things. And then we go to prehistoric Batman, which was a Grant Morrison storyline. Then in the near future, I guess, maybe not super far, we have Damian Wayne leading new Nighthawks, and the Nighthawks are like basically a Hawkman and a Hawkwoman, but they all have like crazy armor and everything, and Damian is just about to kill Bruce for the things he's done. And then we're probably like 100 years in the future with Harley in a spacesuit, Batman in a spacesuit, and I don't even know all the details there. Okay? And we're going through these different storylines, these 3 storylines, basically, because Batman's lost in the multiverse, in the dark multiverse. That's why it's called Lost. I would like to tell you more about it and expound a bit more, but I feel like I would be ruining it, so I don't want to do that to you. I will say this, we start to understand who Barbatos is, who the big bad of this story arc is. We start to understand that. And there's some interesting confrontations here. Bruce Wayne, Alan Wayne, pretty wild stuff. Pretty wild. Okay, everybody, so those are the 4 books of Comicus this week. So now we just quickly go through the ones that didn't win, and then we go through the book that is the winner of Comicus this week. So, 1 second here. First up, we have Kid Lobotomy. Again, one of the craziest reads I've had in a while. I'm just worried that if I'm telling people to get this and they run out, that they might hate it and be upset, because it's really good, but I don't know if it makes enough sense without issue 1. And that's something I do have to look at with the review. And I don't go in order except for the actual winner, which is at the very end. But I really like this. I just don't feel in good conscience I can suggest this, because it's such an acquired taste. It's really good if you want a crazy acquired taste type of comic, then, you know, run out and get it. But I just saying that it's like the main book, go and get it, I think everyone would enjoy it. I just don't think I could do that with this book. But it's really good otherwise. Kid Lobotomy. So it actually pains me to do this. Only a few times does it pain me to do this, but I'm going to strip Kid Lobotomy of its bag and board. And I'm going to take the crazy lobotomy tool that Kid Lobotomy uses, and I'm going to lobotomize the book. Okay. Again, I felt bad about that, because it's pretty damn unique. And in the world of comics, that's kind of a rare thing. But again, I just don't feel that it's something that everyone who reads comics would be interested in. And I do pay attention to that when I review books. I try to, at least. Okay. Next up, we have Star Wars 38. Again, I thought it was a good starting off of a new story arc, and I think Kieran Gillen's going to be a good writer for the book. but I really felt like Luke was just kind of a background character, and there was a lot going on where he's just sort of reacting and not doing much. It seemed like Leia was pretty much doing most of the stuff. Or one of the biggest moments in the book is the evil general or Imperial guy who we don't know all that well yet. And yeah, it was not bad or anything. I think it's pretty cool, but it's just not a winner of Comicus this week. So I'm going to strip it of its bag and board. This is Star Wars 38. I strip of its bag and board. And I toss it into a giant bin of Kyber crystals. Again, Kyber crystals are what you use to make a lightsaber, or even more importantly, the Death Star. Okay, that takes us to, and this will surprise longtime viewers of this show. It surprises me I have longtime viewers, to be honest with you. No. Dark Knight's Batman the Lost. You might have thought that would be the winner this week. It's really damn good. It's great, but there's one book I thought was even better this week. If you're a Batman fan, I highly recommend it. If you read the other Meadow books, I highly recommend it. I just feel these 4 books, there was one that gave us more satisfactory things happening and brought a story arc to an ending that I liked, and really asked some interesting questions too. Not that this doesn't, but this other book I felt even more so on all those points. So I begrudgingly strip Dark Knight's Batman Lost. Again, it's part of Metal! I strip it of its bag and board. And I toss it into the dark multiverse, where it will be lost with Batman. Hopefully not for not all eternity. We know he's been there a number of years. He's been there many years already. The time must move differently there, I'm guessing. Unless they're completely going to upend the entire DC world. Which I guess they could. It's Scott Snyder who created the whole metal thing. He's one of the biggest writers at DC. He worked on Batman for years and was excellent. So I guess if they're going to let anyone do it, it'd be him. And that takes us to, finally, our winner of Comicus, which is Action Comics 991, The Oz Effect Part 5, with an awesome lenticular cover. Although everything in this series has had a great lenticular cover, like these 5 issues. I believe all 5 had. One of the best things is it didn't go on too long. I know that seems weird, but a lot of books don't know how to self-edit themselves anymore. A storyline that should be like 3 or 4 issues is 12. A story that should be 5 or 6 is 8. A lot of times. That's just how it seems like things are stretched. And I was really happy. This had a great, awesome things happening all throughout the storyline. And I believe issue 5 brought everything home and gave us answers. It's very rare to get good answers. Things you're kind of looking forward to hearing when you're reading a comic. A lot of times it's like, oh, okay, we don't know. But, I mean, there's a really super strong indication that Manhattan's involved with what's going on, Dr. Manhattan. We were led to believe that in issue 1 or 2 of this story arc. So it at least gives us explanation of what was going on with Jor-El, which is fantastic. And I will admit some of the interior artwork I didn't think was too amazing. I don't know if it's a fill-in artist or not. I'd have to check. But I thought the writing was really good. The page layout was really good. And it's basically the events that are really, really rocking in the Action Comics universe, I guess you could say. So this is the winner of Comicus, and it will ascend into the heavens and become a star. Oh, oh, oh. Oh my God, it's beautiful. It looks like Krypton. Oh my God, it exploded! Who's that old man? Who's the blue guy? What's with the weird staff he has? Oh my god, why is he making people do that? Oh. Okay, I want to thank you all for watching Comicus. Thank you very much. So, that end part I always sort of improvise. I just have a couple visual ideas, like single words in my head, and I just go with that. So, I want that always to be a little different for everybody. Even if it's like a popular book like Batman or something, I try to change it up a bit. Yeah, I want to thank you all for watching. And again, I do want to say Kid Lobotomy is a damn good book if you want something really, really out there that's going to take your brain and twist it like a pretzel. Again, I just don't feel... I don't want to say I feel right. I just don't feel like I should tell everyone to run out and get that. Can I... I would appreciate you not taking my cheeks, cheek taker. My favorite thing about that response is no one on YouTube is going to get that at all. That's... It sounds like I've lost my mind. It sounds like I've gone completely mad. That's the best part of it. That's the coolness of this being live. So even when it's on YouTube, it's still a live thing. It's one take, and shit goes down terribly. It goes terribly down. I want to thank everyone for watching, and these cheeks are mine, damn it! These rosy little babies, they're mine! Cheek taker. Okay, I want to thank you all for watching, and I hope you have yourself a good day, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye. Thank you very much. Thank you.